the Timberwolves are also in like this tricky spot. They're 14-13. But if you look at like their peripherals, honestly, their peripherals feel like slightly worse to me than Sacramento. They have a slightly better net rating, but their offense is like a significant issue right now when you watch them. I will just give you the floor on this. It feels like to me that Julius Randle is the issue. Like Julius Randle is not fitting in any way, shape, or form. I will also contend that Mike Conley is like a significant issue here as well.
Mm-hmm.
But why do you think? And look, this is one where hand up, hand raise.
Yeah.
I have to take an L on the Randle deal. I thought that made some sense for Minnesota at the time, because I liked the idea of them getting Dante, having all sorts of depth, having an extra first round pick to be able to go and get other players around them. And I thought that Randle, while worse than Towns, would be able to like do an approximation of Towns on some level, maybe even like 80% of Towns, something like that. That has not been the case at all. Hand up, I'm taking the L. It was fucking catastrophic. And that was a bad take by me. Why do you think, Dave, that the Randle deal has not worked out?
Oh, man. So many ways. Number one, when they made the trade, I was like, oh, okay, so Naz Reid is going to start. I didn't think there was a world in which, well, yes, I know. And the thing is, I try to live in a fantasy land where basketball players care about winning, and not just how they're perceived. But anyway, yeah, Julius Randle, he doesn't try on defense at all. The elite defensive calling card that they had is gone. Again, not to say that it's all defense, but like in order to win basketball games, having an elite defense gives you such a head start on a win. Being able to get 3 stops in a row makes a huge difference. It makes a difference on your offense, because guess what? You don't feel as much pressure because hey, you know what? If we can't drop a few shots, guess what? We know we can get it going on the other end and turn defense into offense. And they don't have that anymore because they've got a dude out there that doesn't even try. He doesn't turn around and run in transition. He's constantly getting beat behind his back. I mean, there's one video out there. Someone put together a supercut of all the times that he's just had a guy run right past him. You can turn around and sprint in defensive transition as allowed in the NBA. You don't have to just, shuffle your feet slowly like you're, playing football with your 4-year-old. It's just, there's no effort defensively. And that is beyond just the only place in which he's not trying to fit in. He's not trying to fit in. He's not trying to fit out. He's literally just doing his own thing. He's throwing grenades to guys, which is, that's there's an epidemic going around in the NBA of that, but it really is. OG Anunoby is like, he's making it an art, but it just stifles anything they're trying to do offensively. And not that they run many plays, by the way. That's one of their big, they don't have any. What's their bread and butter? Wait, I mean, you watch them like I do. What's their bread and butter?
Ant ball screen to try, like empty side ant ball screen to try and like get him downhill or get him into a pull up opportunity. To me, it feels like they don't move the ball all that well when I watch them. Yeah.
One or two passes to a shot. And the times when they do get some ball movement that, it's like it's rushed by the defense. A lot of this beautiful game stuff that people like to point out is because really good defense. Sometimes it is the beautiful game, but a lot of times it's the defense has this offense and forces them to do stuff and forces them to move the ball. Mm-hmm. And it just, that's what I see with them. It sticks. And then when it's moving, it's out of desperation. It's not out of, there's no plan. There's no organization. And this is where the Mike Conley stuff comes in, because Conley is washed. I mean, and yeah, he's old and he's a small guard. Like I don't know why this is sneaking up on, like the Wolves. Like we all have watched this happen over the last few years, but they went out and got, Rob Dillingham as like this Conley replacement. They really just needed like a free agent. Like they needed like Tyus Jones. or someone. They needed a player who was ready to step in and maybe play 28 to 30 minutes a night, not a rookie that you were hoping,
Yeah, and I think that they thought Conley had another year, basically. Like, I think that they thought that like Mike would be fine for one more season and they'd be able to bring Dillingham along slowly and then be able to integrate him. And then they drafted Terrence Shannon. Maybe they thought like Terrence Shannon being 24 years old, like maybe he'd be able to come in and help a little bit earlier than what he has. It just hasn't worked in that way, right? Like Conley this year, to me, Randle is the biggest problem.
Yeah.
Let's start there.
Yeah.
But Conley not being able to really separate from anybody, and also not really being able to like play on the ball as much as they would like. Obviously, you want to put the ball in Ant's hands as much as possible. He is who he is. He's a great player. But last year, it just felt like they had that secondary, like steady, sharp player next to him. And this year, it feels like they have a guy who is 38 years old next to him, 37, 38, whatever he is.
Comes so fast,
and
man.
It came for Conley in a hurry, it feels like to me. And that has really changed the calculus for them. On top of, and this is compounded by the lack of spacing. I think that if you still had Towns there, it might look a little bit easier for Conley to separate. It might look a little bit easier for him to get around. But without Towns there and with Randle there, it still didn't really work. And Randle, I thought he would get guarded more than he has, kind of, because typically with Randle, like you still have to at least like get a body on him early. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, he's just going to like bully you into the post. But teams are just kind of letting him bully them into the post and say, okay, we're just going to let you do this. And if you take a pull up, 12 footer, whatever, cool. We're fine with that. Right.
Let me ask you a question.
Sounds good.
Let me ask you a question. If I told you, hey guys, Julius Randle's going to beat us tonight, does that scare you as a basketball team? No. Yeah.
Not
go
NBA
get 30.
Team.
If he gets 30, guess what? That's probably a win for your team. So on the scouting report, I'm sure it's like, hey guys, one-on-one, you don't send a double. Don't worry about it. He's a black hole so often. And even on the nights where he has a lot of assists, that's not by design. It's frustrating to watch because this team did share the sugar a lot more last year. Now, if
felt like they moved it around quicker. Yeah, I agree.
Let me ask you, if DiVincenzo's shooting better, you feel better about it?
Yes, obviously I do. And that might have been like the biggest miscalculation for me. Like I just thought Dante was going to be a dude now moving forward. And, you put him in a different environment, you put him into a circumstance where maybe he's not getting as many catch and shoot threes because they're not collapsing the defense as much. So he's not, spraying the ball out and he's getting a tighter contest every time that he shoots the ball. I kind of thought that would help lift the spacing, but in reality, it just kind of hasn't yet. And he'll start making shots. Like he's not a 33% 3-point shooter, which is what he's shooting right now.
Right.
Like he's not that. He'll be fine at some point. He can really go. But to me, it's just kind of like a compounding of all of the things, right? Where you lose the spacing from Towns. You have Randle, who is a like pound the ball into the ground, dribble, then pass guy, not a quick movement guy. You have Conley that has kind of lost some steps here, let's say, has lost a step at least as a overall scorer, playmaker, whatever you want to say. And that has bogged down Ant in like a substantial way where literally in the comments, Brian K brings up what I wanted to say. Jeremy Sohan has 15 more dunks than Anthony Edwards this year. And Sohan has played God knows how many games. Like he's missed, a number of games this year. To me, the reason for that
that's not an Ant problem.
Yeah, that's a spacing problem. That's not an Ant problem.
Victor when you have Gobert shooting 13 threes a game.
Yeah, like I think that the bigger problem for them is just like the spacing for Ant. They need to go out and like figure out a way to get the spacing right again. And the real problem for them, I think, is I don't know who's going to let them do that, because you only have, I believe, the one pick that you can move. They might be able to move two. I can't remember if you can move one or two for them, but it would involve probably moving Randle for guys who can shoot.
Yeah.
The deal that would be amazing and that I would love to see is them go to get like Cam Johnson. Like they're the team that almost like most needs Cam Johnson to me. But like if you could find a way to do like Randle for Cam Johnson and Dorian Finney-Smith, like that would be incredibly fun to me. But it probably involves you giving up multiple first round picks that you don't have really, or maybe they just maybe the Nets really like Dillingham or something like that. I don't know what it is.
God, but it's only Dillingham. I mean, they just, the assets dried up fast.
They did. So I don't know what you do. Like I think Leonard Miller can play, but like Leonard Miller isn't a great fit here either, because he's not like an awesome shooter. Like I'm interested in Minot still. Like there's like we saw him in the preseason. He looked pretty good. Saw him at Summer League. He looked pretty good. It's just that a lot of these guys that they have selected over the last like few years, they are the non-shooter type.
Mm-hmm.
And that gets kind of hard to kind of figure out how to make all of that work together in conjunction with one another. When you have a lot of these non-shooters, it's hard to get the other non-shooters on the court. So,
and let's not discount, by the way, that Jaden McDaniel's season hasn't been great until here the last couple of weeks. So like,
well, he just hasn't taken the step offensively.
And that has made everything just, I mean, it's just shines a bright light on every single problem.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's actually like a real issue for them as well, that he can't really create his own shot in any way, shape, or form. Ant has been like shooting lights out from three this year. It's insane. He's shooting 42% on 10 3-point attempts per game, and he's still only averaging like 26. If you would have told me that Ant was shooting 10 3-point attempts per game, and was shooting 42%, I would have told you that he's averaging 35.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have any space to get onto the interior. And you saw this, by the way, like this is what Ant looked like at Georgia, guys. Like that Georgia team had no space whatsoever for him to be able to attack. This is why like people in the draft process questioned, oh, well, like how good of an athlete is he? Like he doesn't really, dunk the ball. He doesn't really get into the paint all that often. It's because there's no space around him to be able to do this. If I was Minnesota, I would be trying to retool around spacing and around different avenues to acquire that. It's just, I don't know how you're going to go about doing it necessarily.
Well, first, it's Naz Reid in the starting lineup, but Naz also hasn't had a great season shooting the ball. People talk about Towns as a spacer, but Towns was not a high volume spacer, but the threat of him shooting, because he's such a good shooter, that mattered a lot for Ant. But by the way, they had offensive issues last year. Let's not act like this was some sort of offensive juggernaut. I mean, we saw them get super hot in the playoffs, and that made them look better than they were. But this was a team that needed something else, and it needed more space for this year anyway. They gave themselves less space.
Let's get to a quick little note from PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least two players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the best place to get real money action. There are over 10 million members. Like I said a second ago, they invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. PrizePicks always puts its members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. We are big fans of PrizePicks here. We absolutely love the app and what they're doing for the daily fantasy sports scene. Download the app today and use code GameTheory to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app today and use that code Game Theory to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game.
So I think Naz Reid in the starting lineup is where you start. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I would. I would make the move at this point. You have no connection to Randle. Here's the issue. You have to hope that Randle doesn't totally shut down if you do that. Right. And based on his effort so far, we can talk about Julius being a pretty Julius can be as good of a dude off the court as he is.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that we have the evidence of his effort on the court.
Right.
We can go look at the tape. We can see that he's not moving and making decisions to not run back in transition, to not pick up guys in transition, to not do all of the things that he's supposed to do. Right.
Yep.
We can bring all of that up because it's there. It exists on the tape if you watch the Timberwolves. And that's what the most frustrating thing is about watching them right now. They're still fifth in defensive efficiency because Gobert is as good as he is. Jaden McDaniels is as good as he is. All of these things are so apparent when you watch the tape. Gobert is still insane as a rim protector. Jaden McDaniels is insane defensively. Is an overall perimeter wing defender, everything like that. I think Ant is still quite good on the ball. I think that Nikhil is an unbelievable defender. Yeah, Ant is good on the ball. The problem is off the ball, he starts to lose.
I don't like the nights where he's being performative defensively, right? I like the nights where
there are nights like that.
I do like the nights where it's close game and he wants to get up and go guard the guy. That's great. But there are those nights where he's picking up a guy 75 feet. And it's hey man, you're the number one option. That's not your job.
Yeah. So YouTube user asks, is Randle tradable on his current contract? Yes, but by
the Timberwolves?
It's going to be a distressed asset for distressed asset kind of move. It's going to be oh, we have a guy on our team that we're frustrated with right now. How about you guys take a shot on him? We'll take a shot on Randle, kind of thing. It's not going to be oh yeah, he has plus value, because he still has, if I remember correctly, another year on this contract. Because look, Julius Randle has a player option.
Yeah.
He has a player option for next year.
What does he make?
He makes 33 this year, and he's locked in at 30.9 next year.
What's Ben Simmons make?
Guys, 46, 43,
call it in.
Something like that.
Call it in. Ben Simmons is the backup to Rudy Gobert, playing the 5 like he ought to. He doesn't have to do anything important. Just go out there, rebound, play defense. Oh man.
So here's the thing. Ben Simmons right now, probably more trade value than Julius Randle, just because he has this isn't expiring. Ben's on his last year of his deal.
That's it.
I mean, could you
would you do that?
I probably would if I'm Minnesota. Yeah.
For a couple seconds, maybe
I would want to find a third team to move Simmons to in order to try and get back a distressed asset, basically, to me. That's the deal that's interesting to me is, if you're Portland, would you get off the Jeremy Grant deal, get off the final 2 years of the Jeremy Grant deal for Julius Randle?
Ooh, and that solves some problems too, if you're Minnesota.
Yeah, I don't know if Jeremy Grant's great anymore, but it's a better fit.
It is a much better fit. And in a lower stakes, you think about Jeremy Grant playing the 4 next to Gobert, that's okay. It's fine.
Yeah, it could work.
Yeah, he'll play.
Yeah, you have more lineup flexibility. You could go Grant at the 3 with Naz and Gobert. You could go, Jaden Grant, Naz. You could go Jaden Grant, Gobert. That tracks a little bit more.
Another guy who can handle the ball sometimes.
Yeah, it feels to me that Portland is still way overvaluing Jeremy Grant. And saying, oh my God, this guy still is, a really good player. But the problem is he has 4 years, $120 million or whatever left on that deal. If I was Portland and Minnesota came and offered me, hey, we'll give you Julius Randle and Leonard Miller for Jeremy Grant or something like that, I would probably do that if I was Portland, just to get off the final 2 years of the Grant deal.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, that's a good move for them. I mean, as many bites at the apple as they can get, you know.
Yeah, and Grant, you know, kind of you move off of that money.
Yeah.
In a way that's sharp. I don't know. I feel like if you can get off of long-term money if you're Portland, and oh, by the way, like assuming they can't move Ayton, Randle and Ayton's deals kind of, you know, expire at the same time. So you get some flexibility as soon as those deals expire at the same time. That feels like setting yourself up for Portland if you're in the future to me.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty good. You got another one?
Yeah, the Nets were the other team I was trying to figure out. Like the Simmons
Cam Johnson
idea isn't catastrophic, but like I don't think you're getting Cam Johnson. Like I think that they want like multiple firsts that you just don't have to offer.
Who's your dream for there? If you could put anyone there, right? Any non-star, like, I mean, yeah, Kevin Durant would be great, but dream 4 that's just like a guy, you know, like on the Jeremy Grant level. Cam Johnson.
Yeah, I mean,
level. Like if you could just pick anyone.
I feel like the guy that everybody around the league would love is like Tari Eason, but like they're not moving Tari.
Yeah.
So that's not an option. Guy that could actually be available. Oh man, that's hard. That is kind of tricky, I think.
Yeah. This is why, and you know, someone on YouTube is asking if Cam Johnson's worth multiple firsts, but this is the thing, like Cam Johnsons don't grow on trees.
So yeah, R. Jones, he asks, is Cam Johnson really worth multiple firsts? So Cam Johnson is on a deal that he is definitely worth. Like he's worth $22 million a year or whatever. And they don't have to move him because they have him for 3 years. So like, do I think he's worth like a good first and a good prospect? Like maybe something like that. I don't know about straight up 2 firsts, but like, the answer here is I don't think they would move him unless they get like equivalent value to 2 firsts. So if you want to go get Cam Johnson, you probably have to give that up. Otherwise, they're going to just keep him at the end of the day. So I don't really see it in all honesty.
Me either. I do.
Someone said Kuzma for Randle.
Hey, you know what? It at least again theoretically works. And Kuzma is better than he's been. That's maybe not. All right, maybe not. Maybe I think
that's
better than he is right now.
I think if you put him like in a position where he's like trying to win games, I think he'd probably be better.
Yeah.
But I don't. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, I don't
know. But that's the idea for Randle to me. It's like it has to be like a distressed asset kind of player as opposed to a like real dude.
But to me, it doesn't have to be a starter because you've got Naz Reid at home.
Yeah. And why would the Wizards do that? Yeah. You get off of 1 extra year of Kuzma. But honestly, if I was them, I wouldn't do it. I would rather just like take the shot with Kuzma still that I could get off of that money.
It's Bilal's team now.
Yeah. Okay. Oh my God. It's Bilal's team. I love it. I'm into it. I
can't have Julius Randle out there taking the ball from Bilal.
Bilal might need the ball taken from him from time to time. But
let him cook.
I'm all in on letting him cook.
French bistro.
Okay. The French bistro is in session and is cooking.